Some stories in Azeroth start with a single spark, one choice, one act of faith that ends up changing everything. Liadra's story is one of those. Before she was a commander, before she was a blood knight, she was a priestess of the Sunwell, a believer. Someone who thought the light would always guide and protect her people, no matter the odds. And for a while, it did. Quel'Thalas shined brighter than ever. The light flowed through the Sunwell like a song. Calm, beautiful, eternal. But faith is easy when everything's going right. It's what happens after the fall that defines you. When the Scourge came, Silvermoon didn't just burn, it broke. Countless lives were lost. The Sunwell, that eternal beacon of light, was defiled. And Liadrin, who had devoted her entire life to serving that light, watched it fade before her eyes. The prayers stopped working. The light stopped answering. And that silence cut deeper than any blade. In that moment, Liadrin learned that faith alone isn't always enough. Her people needed action. They needed strength. And if the light would not come willingly, then she would take it by force. That's where everything changed. Liadrin led a new kind of order, the Blood Knights. They didn't pray for power, they seized it. They turned the light from a blessing into a weapon, channeling it through will and determination instead of blind faith. It was controversial, sure, but for a people who had lost everything, it was also empowering. Liadrin stood at the center of it, fierce, unflinching, and unashamed. To her, it wasn't about defying the light, it was about surviving. And if survival meant bending the rules of heaven itself, so be it. But deep down, that choice carried a weight she couldn't ignore, because every spark of power they took came from something that was once sacred. And no matter how strong she became, part of her wondered, was she saving her people or corrupting what was left of her soul? Liadrin's journey didn't end with conquest. It led her to reflection. Over time, her understanding of the light changed again. She came to see that what she's done wasn't heresy, it was evolution. Faith had to grow, or it would break under the weight of the world. When the Sunwell was restored, she was no longer the angry priestess who had lost everything. She was a leader, tempered by experience, humbled by mistakes, but stronger because of them. And maybe that's why Liadrin stands out among Azeroth's champions. She's not perfect, she's not holy in the traditional sense, but she's real. She's someone who's fought for her faith instead of just preaching it. In the years that followed, Liadrin stayed present but humble. She trained new Blood Knights, rebuilt Silvermoon's faith, and watched her people rediscover pride without arrogance. For her, that victory was enough, for a time. But peace never lasts in Quel'Thalas. History here doesn't fade, it waits. And for Liadrin, the light's silence was never truly gone, just holding its breath, until now. For years, the Sunwell has stood as a symbol of balance, light and arcane working together, fragile but whole. But that balance is ending. The void doesn't attack with brute force first. It seeps in, whispers, infects faith before it ever takes form. The first signs would come quietly. Blood Knights near Quel'Thalas sensing the light flicker mid-ritual. Dreams of darkness flowing beneath the Sunwell's surface. Priests feeling the hum of the Sunwell go silent, if only for a moment. But Liadrin, she'd recognize the pattern. She's seen this before. Faith faltering, power twisting, light growing desperate, and she knows what that means. This isn't corruption, it's convergence. The light and the void pulling at each other through the Sunwell, like two tides fighting for control of the same shore. When the first true wave of the invasion hits, the skies darkening above Silvermoon, the spires dimming, the golden banners burning violet, the Blood Knights will already be there. This time, though, they're not just warriors. They're the frontline defense of faith itself. I think we'll see them standing shoulder to shoulder with Masters and Rangers again, not as separate orders, but as one people. Their tactics won't just be swords and shields. It'll be light anchoring magic, radiant barriers that push back the void's whispers, holy ground made literal through sheer willpower. That's the key to the Blood Knight's survival and their evolution in Midnight. And when the void comes, that control might be the only thing that keeps the Sunwell from being completely consumed. The Blood Knights will become the barrier, both physically and spiritually, between the Void and the heart of Quel'Thalas. Liadrin herself could even lead the defense at Quel'Thalas, wielding the light in a way no priest or paladin could, as a weapon of balance, not purity. Because to defeat the Void, they can't cling to the idea of light as something perfect. They have to wield it as something living, flawed, reactive, but unbreakable when fueled by will. And that's what Liadrin represents now. Not blind faith, not rebellion, but mastery. The light doesn't define her anymore. She defines it. When the invasion fully arrives, it won't be a slow corruption. It'll be an all-out assault. The sky fracturing above Silvermoon, shadows spilling through the golden trees, the Void song echoing through the spires of the capital. But this time, Quel'Thalas won't fall, because this time, its defenders understand the enemy. I think Midnight will make Liadrin one of the most central figures of this war, the commander of the Light's final stronghold in the Eastern Kingdoms. And while other leaders fight with armies, Liadrin fights with conviction. She doesn't wait for the Light to save her people. She becomes the light that saves them. Imagine her standing at the Sunwell's edge, light and void colliding in a blinding storm, the Magter's wards breaking. And in that chaos, Liadrin walking forward, unshaken, armor cracked, but glowing brighter with every step. She won't pray for deliverance, she'll demand it. Because the Blood Knight's greatest weapon isn't faith, it's defiance. And that's what will carry them through midnight. While others crumble under fear and fanaticism, Liadrin will rally her people with one truth: that light and void are two halves of the same struggle, and that the Sindarai have lived through both. Her role won't be just to defend Quel'Thalas, it'll be to redefine what the light means when it's under siege. Maybe the Sunwell doesn't survive unchanged. Maybe it fractures, splits into something new, a prison where light and void coexist instead of annihilating each other. And if that happens, Liadrin will stand at the center of that moment, the bridge between faiths, between forces, between what was and what must come next. Because she's not just a warrior anymore, she's a symbol of endurance, of a people who've rebuilt themselves from every ruin imaginable. So when the shadows rise and the light trembles, Liadrin will run. She'll stand her ground, just as she always has, not as a saint, not as a savior, but as a Blood Knight. Someone who fights for her people, her world, and the light that still burns, even in the dark. Liadrin's heart, Liadrin's light, her destiny waiting in midnight. Thanks for watching. It's me, Mook.